Um, okay. Right. Hello, everybody. Sorry. Okay. So I think we are starting today with Bonnie. Are you going to be chatting to us and
Yes.
Giving us a bit of inspo?
Yes. So I wanted to talk to you guys about overwhelm, just because in our world right now, it just seems that that's a topic. Even if you're not dealing with it, probably people on your teams are dealing with it. And so I wanted to give you some practical tips about dealing with overwhelm just as you're growing this business and stuff like that. So if you can make me a co-host so I can share my screen, that would be great. Do you know how to do that? Okay, let me get my stuff up here. Oops, that's not what you want to see. So can you guys see this picture? Dealing with overwhelm? Okay, great. So I cannot see the chat while I'm doing this. So when I'm done, if there's questions and stuff, I'll get back to the chat, and maybe Andy can kind of help me with that a little bit. All right, so let me get this playing here. Okay, so when we talk about overwhelm, a lot of times these are kind of the three reactions that we see. You know, let's just bury our head in the sand, let's freak out, or let's run away. Those are kind of, you know, your typical responses when people get to overwhelm. And when I talk about overwhelm, I'm going to say when you are feeling stuck in your business or in your life, you're kind of on the way to overwhelm, or you may be feeling that already. So if you're feeling any of these things, you may be in overwhelm. Okay, the dangers of overwhelm. It really causes. There's a great book, if you want a great book to read, it's called Mastery by Robert Greene, and he talks about how once we get into overwhelm, we start limiting ourselves, and we start limiting our circle of action. And we all know that we have to have certain actions to grow our business. And so we're doing that because we're giving ourselves the illusion of control. And really, it's all an illusion. If you're in overwhelm, you need to get out of overwhelm. Okay. So we don't want that powerlessness, that feeling. We want not the illusion of control, but actual control over our lives. So I want to talk a little bit about something called the Eisenhower Principle. And it's basically a quadrant, if you think about, and if you look at this graph, think about, I'm just going to ask you really quick to jot down a note. Where do you think that you should be spending most of your time? So if you look at that first quadrant over there, there's the important and non-urgent. Then there's the important and urgent quadrant. Then there's the urgent and not important. And then there's the not important and not urgent quadrant. Okay, so those are going to be the quadrants we talk about. Okay, so here is the secret to this, is that if you look at companies that are high performance companies, so if you think about you as an individual, as your own little CEO of your company, your Young Living business, according to the what is typical, most high performance people and companies spend most of their time in the important and not urgent category. A lot of times I think we think we're supposed to spend all of our time in the important and urgent category, and we do. And that's part of the problem with overwhelm. But if you look at this graph, it kind of tells you where typical companies are and where high performance companies are. And I think all of you want to be high performers in your business. So here are some ideas about identifying the priorities. And when you can identify the priorities and know where they fit in this quadrant, it can help you kind of organize your life. So if we want to be in that first quadrant, if we want to spend the majority of our time in that first quadrant, the things that we're talking about would be the high value activities. They're prevention based, they're relationship building, they're strategic planning, and their empowerment. So think about our business. It's like you're enrolling people, you're building relationships with people on your team, you're planning out your month and your goals and stuff like that. In quadrant number 2, that's when there's all the fires. We're putting out fires. There's crisis. There's deadline-driven projects. There's pressing problems. Yes, those need to be addressed. But if we can spend more time in quadrant 1, we're going to have less of the crisis and deadline crunching things, right? And I'm talking about maybe you have this like down pat in your business, but sometimes with your personal life, you don't, and it starts creeping in. If you've got kids at home and all of these things, think about applying some of these things to all areas of your life. Okay, number 3 would be important things that need to be dealt with, but do you have to be the one to do it? Can you delegate it? Maybe there's emails, meetings, reports, interruptions. Like if your kids are knocking on your office door during your work time all the time and interrupting you, there are, interruptions. Every interruption you get in a highly focused time in your business decreases your productivity by 20%. So if you get 3 interruptions in an hour, you're practically not getting anything done. So think about things like that. Can you hire somebody to watch your kids for 2 hours while you are really productive? Can your husband take over for, an hour where you work in the evening so you don't get those interruptions? So think about delegating. And then what kinds of things are really things that are not important and not urgent that maybe you don't really need to spend time in? Are you binge watching Netflix, or just now social media I have in here because there's a difference between working social media in your business and just cruising through social media and getting lost in it, right? So escape activities, things like that. Okay. So here's what we want to do. We want to design our destiny by taking control of those important but not urgent things, and make sure that we're scheduling those things into our time. We want to deal with the crisis things, deal with the drama in quadrant 2. We want to put a detour in, like delegate things in that quadrant 3. And maybe there's some things that we just need to dump out of our life that are in quadrant 4 that we're spending time with, right? So really quickly, I want to just give 30 seconds for you to write down some things that you quickly can identify in these 4 quadrants that you're dealing with. Okay, we're going to go on, but I just want you guys to start getting a handle on this, because I think if you spend a little bit of time with this quadrant idea, that you are going to start maximizing your time, and we all need that, right? Okay, I've got some tips for overwhelm that are just, some of these I just made up, but they help me, and so I do them. But so one of my number one tip is mentally rearrange your week. So if you think of it, like maybe you have a job outside the home, maybe I don't know, a lot of people have a Monday to Friday schedule, and then they have a weekend that they kind of take off, or maybe take some time off. So mentally rearrange that. You're not really changing anything, but mentally you're thinking about your week differently. So if you're in overwhelm, sometimes it's like you start Monday and it's like, oh my gosh, I've got so much this week, and I don't even know if I can make it till Friday. Those are some of the feelings that you have when you're in overwhelm, right? But if you can think about having, if you can think that your work week starts on Wednesday or Thursday instead of Monday, and that weekend is actually 2 days off in the middle of your week. It's a total mind shift thing. You're not really changing the days of the week or anything, but you're doing something in your mind that gives you a break, and it kind of is a mental interrupt, and a mental pattern interrupt. And that's part of what you need to do, is sometimes you need to snap yourself out of a mental pattern of overwhelm. And so if you can mentally just shift how you think about your week, that might help. Okay. Tip number 2, put one area in order. So pick an area of your life. It can be physical or mental, but sometimes a physical thing could be a little bit easier. So I remember a time in my life where I was so overwhelmed. I just couldn't even function. And I just felt like my life was in chaos. I just could not deal. And we lived in our home at different times. We were not living here all the time. And so we'd rent out our home part of the time. And I had this one cupboard in my kitchen that I would come back, and people lived here and they bought stuff that I would never buy in a million years and use. And it was all in my cupboard, and it's the cupboard you keep your spices and maybe your flour and honey and, olive oil and like things like that in it, and I would open this cupboard and there would be things that I never in a million years would buy for ourselves anyway, and never used, but it was like all this stuff in my cupboard. And one day it's like, I have to have control over one thing, just one thing in my life. So I emptied that cupboard out and I made it just the things that I would use. I bought the things that we would use and put it in there and organized that cupboard. And I felt so much better. And so sometimes we just need to clean out a closet or clean out a drawer, or get the laundry folded and put away, or something that helps with overwhelm. Okay. Tip number 3, decide ahead of time. So research indicates that our brains are wired to be able to make only a certain amount of decisions per day. And when we hit that number, we just like tank trying to make more decisions. We literally can't make good decisions or good choices after our brains have hit that number of decisions for a day. So my suggestion is, there are things in our life that you can make decisions about ahead of time, so that when those things come up, you do not have to use your decision-making power then to do it, right? So think about things like bedtimes for your kids. Maybe think about a menu of what you're going to cook for a week. Maybe think about what clothes you're going to wear. Different routines in your life. It's like, if you know that the kids go to bed at 8 o'clock, then when they come to you and start whining and complaining about that, it's like, no, we've set that bedtime is 8 o'clock. And Friday nights, we let you stay up till 9 and watch a movie or whatever it is, but stick to some of those decisions, make those decisions ahead of time, and don't just be reactionary, but have some of those things. Another area for this would be, what about responses that you're going to get? So responses to criticism, responses to often asked questions, which we face that in our business. What kind of things can we think about that we can practice? Like if we have a response, if you're sharing with somebody and maybe, the objections we talk about in our business, like, oh, I can't really afford that, or I don't know how. Well, what are the things that you already know that you would say to those questions? Practice those. And it's not like you're having to figure it out every single time. You already know ahead of time what you're going to say or how you're going to direct that conversation. Or things about the kids, if they're needling you, it's like, or whining or complaining. What if you already decided about whining and complaining? When my kids were little, we did not allow whining and complaining in our house. We just didn't. My kids learned that just didn't work with us, because whining and complaining, it's like, do you need an attitude adjustment? Why don't you go to your room, and when you can come out and have an intelligent conversation, you can come out. That was our decision every single time. Didn't have to deal with whining and complaining, because I just didn't go there. So there are things like that you can think about, right? All right. Create a motivating phrase, tip number 4. So think about a song or a Bible verse or some inspirational saying, something that really speaks to you, speaks to your heart, and means something to you. If you have to make that up, make it up. But use some of your driving values, the things that are important to you that you latch onto, and create a motivating phrase. And when you start feeling like you want to bury your head in the sand or run away from your life or whatever, start saying your motivating phrase. Maybe it's something you say to yourself every single day. Whatever it is, maybe you write it down every single day, but something that will help get you. If you can create that as a pattern in your life, then when you face different things, you can create those. That's a go-to to help your mind get out of the funk that you're in. Okay. Tip number 5, create themes. So think about creating daily themes, weekly themes, monthly themes, and yearly themes. So for instance, maybe if you work your business every single day, maybe you can think about your theme for Monday is check in with my team day. Tuesday is follow up with new leads day. Wednesday, creating your social media posts. Thursday, taking care of personal items, laundry and stuff like that. Friday is reports day or financial day or whatever. Monthly themes might be things like this month we're going to focus on getting the website updated. Maybe next month we're going to focus on Zoom classes, really putting together some great Zoom classes. Maybe the next month we're going to focus on Instagram exposure focus. And yearly themes would be, you've heard about maybe a word for the year, but thinking about, innovation, determination, transformation, hustle, words that are kind of your driving word for the year. So when you think about this, so as you're scheduling out your time, and say you work Monday through Friday in your job or in your business, and so when you go to schedule your time out, you say, I'm going to spend 2 hours checking in with my team on Mondays. That's my time. That's what I'm doing. Then when you get to Monday, you've already decided that that's how you're going to spend your time. You've already scheduled that thing. And if something that comes up with I need to do, my Instagram posts or whatever, schedule that kind of thing in for, your theme of the day. So I want to give you guys about 30 seconds to think about this. and think about maybe some themes that would work well for you in your business, and think about how could you organize your life a little bit better so you're not spending every day doing all the stuff, right? Because that you kind of move from one thing to the next and you don't feel like you get any of this stuff really, or really be able to think about these things in a long enough period of time to really be creative and innovative with them. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to kind of think about some of this. Okay, we're going to move on. So basically, just think about taking action against overwhelm in our life, right? That is not serving us. Overwhelm is not serving us. It's not serving us in our business. It's not serving us in our families. It's not serving us in our communities. So, a woman that I really respect, this is a quote from her: "When you don't know what to do next, just do the thing in front of you," from Elizabeth Elliot. Okay, I wanted to share some, as we end this, some oils for overwhelm. So I basically, if your reaction to overwhelm is burying your head in the sand, valor, motivation, transformation, inspiration, hinoki, Roman chamomile, patchouli, and endoflex are great ones. If you're one of those that goes on total freak out mode, Ula balance, peace and calming, grounding, acceptance, present time, Royal Hawaiian sandalwood, joy, and lemon. And if you are one of those people that wants to run away when you're facing it, you just want to pack your suitcase and get on the next train, then these oils: highest potential, hope, envision, myrrh, gratitude. I can't see those other oils underneath the pictures of you guys, but I can share this with you later if you need to. So those are oils for overwhelm. So let me just hit exit and see if you, and stop share. See if you guys have any questions for me.
I love that, Bonnie.
What?
I love that.
Oh, good.
I'm feeling like I need to bring more structure into my life. So this really gives me some tools, and I often look at that graph. I read it in Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I often feel like I'm living my life in important and urgent, all aspects of my life.
Right. No, I think that's so typical of us, and yeah, I always feel like it's a constant battle to keep ourselves out of that mode all the time. There's always going to be things where we have to do. If we're busy people and we have a lot going on in our lives, there's always going to be a little bit of that. But I promise you, if you can take the time to try to schedule yourself doing the things in quadrant 1, you honestly do eliminate some of that quadrant 2 stuff. And it's surprising. Like one day you wake up and go, oh my gosh, there wasn't a fire to put out, or there wasn't this drama piece that happened, or whatever. You know, there's going to be that stuff, but it's more of how can we get more into that where we're being more productive with our time and energy, and even and just to keep our emotions so from that reactionary place, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonnie, can I ask, how often do you feel like you have to work on that graph? Because I'm sure it changes with time.
um that is a great question. You know, I would say if you when you first start out, I think you kind of set your, you know, you, if you're unfamiliar with it, there's a lot of things that kind of have to be reworked and stuff. But after a while, like I would revisit it probably in a real, you know, big way once a year. But I think that when you're first starting out, it's like, oh, there's so many things to change. And you might want to look at it, you know, monthly. You might want to look at it quarterly, something like that. But once you start operating a lot more like that, it's easier to identify things as they come up real quickly. Like, oh, do I even need to be spending my time doing this? No. Can I delegate? Who else can do this? Because this is something that I don't need to do. Yep, let's find somebody, you know, to delegate. So you aren't having to you recognize those things as they come up more. I think so. I've been doing this a while, so I would say I probably look at it once a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie, hi, I'm Sam. Thank you so much. That was such a good reminder. I just wanted to ask, what is your go-to phrase? So your snap out of it phrase.
That's good. You know, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that today because this is something I've taught for years, and I don't. I usually change things around. I don't. Right now, I don't have a current phrase that I'm having to say to myself, other than the thing that I think, I mean, I'm a Christian, and so I am just like, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing here? That's kind of my thing. It's like if I can just stop in my tracks and go, what's the Lord saying to me? It takes my attention away from crisis. So that's kind of probably where I'm at right now. But I've had different ones throughout the years, and I probably do change it on a yearly basis. I'll look at different things like that. But like I said, once you start doing this more, I don't let myself get into overwhelm. So I don't need a phrase as often as I did in the beginning, because I know that that's not a place I want to be, right? Sometimes it would, sometimes, like some of my phrases in the past have been, I am fully capable of doing this, or I have all the time in the world today to get what needs to be done. You know, things like that. Those would be things that I've used in the past. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Bonnie, are you able to read those oils that were hidden behind your video on the last slide, please?
Yeah. So the ones for the running away are highest potential, hope, awaken, live with passion, envision, myrrh, citrus fresh, and gratitude.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Bonnie, it's Natasha here. Thank
Hi.
you. I was just wondering, how do you split up your activities? Because for me, I feel like everything is important and in crisis mode. So how do you actually physically split them up into, I'd say the top 2 tiers for me would be the most important, but I would put everything into one, if you know what I mean. Like, because for me, everything, every single day is important, and I've got to try and get through all of it.
Right, right. And I think one of the things that happens with us, especially busy women that have families, is we think we can get more done during a day than we actually can accomplish, and we always feel frustrated at the end of the day. How many of you feel that way? Right? It's true. I mean, it's true. You do, and I am, and I think different people, different personality types, but I'm the personality type that I will think. I will schedule my life out in a way that I think I can get more done than I actually get done. So when you're looking at your schedule of the day, I don't know how you operate, but like if you think about the next day, like the night before, I know a lot of people do that. Some people schedule their week out. Like if you're doing the theme thing, I like doing the themes thing. So I'll think about things in a weekly fashion and stuff. The key is that, like, say you're going to work on Monday from 1 to 5 on your business, and you think you're going to get this done, something done between 1 and 2, and something done between 2 and 3, and something done between 3 and 4, and something done between 4 and 5. You think you're going to get these 5 things, big things done in your life, right? And maybe you're scheduling out your whole day, and you think, okay, I'm gonna between 4 and 5, I'm gonna fix dinner. I'm gonna get the laundry done between, you can include the things that, like your family things, in those schedules, right? So here's the key for me, and my personality type. And if you find yourself at the end of the day feeling frustrated because you didn't get everything done that you planned to get done, which I think a lot of us fall into this category, you can't schedule yourself back to back like that. You have to give yourself breaks. So you cannot say, and maybe you've never looked at it. This could be the other thing. You just in your mind think that you're going to get this done, this done, this done, this done, this done, and you've never written it out. And if you write it out and you're honest with yourself, how long does it take you to do dinner? How long does it take you to, get your Instagram things done? How long does it take you to, if you're really, really honest with yourself, are you thinking in your mind that you can get 10 things done? And if you really wrote it out, there's really only 5 things that practically that you have time in the day to get done. So then you have to figure it out. Okay, that's when you start having to prioritize and start thinking about delegating and start thinking about what's the crisis that I have to take care of. And then when you schedule those things out in your day, don't do things back to back to back, because it always takes longer sometimes, and you need to allow yourself for those things that do come up in a day that you don't even plan on. If you don't allow yourself that extra half hour here, half hour there to attend to something that came up that you didn't even know was going to come up, you have to make cupcakes for a birthday party, or you have to, somebody has a major crisis that you need to call Young Living for, or, you have a leader that's just broken down in tears because something has come up, you need to allow yourself extra time in your day to take care of those things. And when you start getting really real with yourself about what it takes, how much time it takes you to do certain things, and then look at your day in a realistic way, you will find that that helps. Yeah, that's a good, Samantha, that's a good saying. All of life comes to me with ease and grace. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So I don't know, did I answer your question? Did that help with that?
Yes,
I know you
thank
were
you.
saying everything needs to be done, like everything's important. I think you were asking about how do you identify things going into the different quadrants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would do is, so give me some examples.
Okay, so for me, I run two businesses. So I've got my day job. Sorry, can you hear me? My dog is snoring. Sorry. I've got my day job, and then I've got young living, and I've got to be a mom and be a
Right.
partner and be a daughter. So I just feel like some days it's just so overwhelming. And I
Yes.
really want to succeed in the young living side, because for me, I find that it will be my road to financial freedom. But in the meantime, I still have
Yes.
to concentrate on my day job. So for me,
Right.
that's where I
And
back
that's
to
yeah. Yeah.
do
So
that.
you've got a lot on your plate. So here's the thing. So you know that you can't change your day job. That's like a non-negotiable. So you know that those hours are there. The other thing that you need to really figure out your balance is how much time do you legitimately have to put into a young living business on a regular basis. And the key is consistency. I know Allie's probably talked to you. Consistency is key. But does that consistency have to be every single day, or can you just say, I can spend half an hour a day and that's it, or 15 minutes a day and that's it, but then 2 days I can spend 2 hours, and what 2 days are those going to be? Because I have to be a mom, and I have to, be a partner, and I have my day job, and I'm only got so many hours in the day, right? So then what it comes down to really with your young living business is you have to pare out all the non-essentials, all the non-essentials. Do not think that you need to recreate the wheel. Get down to what actually moves your business in a positive way. So what rank are you?
I'm star now.
Okay, awesome. So you should not be trying to create your own Facebook group. None of you guys should be doing that. Like, really, Allie has an amazing Facebook group. Why would you recreate the wheel? Just get your people poured into there. She's creating systems for you. You've got an amazing upline that is doing a lot of those kinds of things for you. Your total job is relationship building, sharing with new people, getting people enrolled, plugging them into the system that your team already has created. You don't need to be doing a whole lot more. So if you look at what's going to grow your business, well, you need to enroll people, and you need to help those people that you enroll get plugged into the system that your team has already created for you to help them grow alongside of you, right? So if you look at what you're trying to do when you spend time working on your young living business, anything outside of that, probably you don't need to be doing right now, right? So that's where you need to start. And you can talk to Allie about this if you need help, but that's where you need to start with getting through all. We don't have the luxury of tons and tons of time, and you certainly don't with a day job and being a mom and all of that. The other key, I think, and this is really important, is when you do this and you schedule things out a little bit more, and you understand that, nope, I've decided I'm being a mom between 6 and 7 this night. We are doing something as a family. I'm spending time with my kids. Turn your notifications off. Good grief. You do not need to be looking at your you should have those turned off anyway. Yeah, and that's an interruption. You only turn them on when you have scheduled time to be looking at your emails, looking at your your things and go deal with those during a half-hour time twice a day or whatever it is. The rest of the time, that is somebody else's schedule. That's not yours. That's their urgency, not yours. You need to take control of your phone and your notifications, and those should not be on. Like, Allie might slap me for telling you this, but you go check your WhatsApp. You don't need to be checking that every 2 seconds, like while you're trying to work, right? Focus on what you're doing and then go spend 5 minutes checking your things, right? And so when you schedule time to be a mom, spend 100% of your time being a mom, and you will quit feeling guilty, because this is what happens. We feel guilty when we're spending time here with our family because we know all this work needs to be done in our business. But then when we're working on our business, we feel guilty because we're not spending time with our family, right? How many of you guys feel that way? That you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that cycle, because if you knew that you've committed this time, and it's like you can go spend time with your kids and go have a blast playing with your kids, doing this special thing with them, whatever, knowing, nope, I've got this covered because I've already know that I have time to take care of what I plan to do in my Young Living business today. Or I'm taking a day off from my Young Living business because I've got extra time planned in it tomorrow, right? And if you're somebody that your schedule changes a lot, you might have to do week to week planning on your days. But if your schedule stays the same, maybe you can have the same type of schedule every week, where the kids know that Friday from this time to this time is mom time, and we're going to go get ice cream and we're going to do this special thing together, uninterrupted, and your phone notifications are off and you don't look at your phone during that time, right? And then when you're working your Young Living business, your kids know this is uninterrupted time. You need to let mommy do this because this is the time. And the same thing with our spouses and our partners, schedule that time. And it doesn't mean that you can't be spontaneous, but sometimes you just have to schedule time. If you're super busy like that, if you don't schedule time, sometimes those are the things that get left, and then that doesn't help anybody, right? So I don't know, does that help?
Yes, Bonnie, that's very, very helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Very wise words.
I think for me, this links a lot to creating boundaries.
Yes.
And I haven't been very good at that, but when you mentioned the WhatsApp chats, and I feel I need to be available 24/7 and answer everyone's queries and be there, but it's always at the expense of family or something else. So
Right.
I'm working on that, boundaries.
Yes. Yeah, and that's probably one of the best gifts you can give yourself time-wise, is to say all of those kinds of things, the WhatsApp, your email, your any of the things that you have notifications on your phone, is to turn those things off and schedule time every day. If you these are things that you need to address every day, which they probably are, you can take care of a boatload of that stuff in a half-hour segment or even a 15-minute segment, and just say, this is my time to go back and see who's emailed me, who's messaged me, who needs my attention. And I promise you, you guys will need to set those boundaries and create that kind of thing for people, so that they understand that every little thing, I will tell you, there are so many times where I will have somebody text me or email me or, put something on a chat that right then for them was an emergency. But when I get back to them an hour later, because it's not during my time that I'm looking at stuff, they've already figured out the solution. right? So our teams need to understand that we are not 24/7 available to them for every little whim. And the other thing too that I do is, and this is a boundary that I've done, is I don't, somebody texts something and said, what do you do for like a rash on my arm or whatever, people are used to just, it's like, I train my team. It's like, have you checked the desk reference? If I don't have a personal testimony about that or a quick thing to get back to them about that, all I'm doing is checking the desk reference, and they can do that just as well as me. And I want to empower my team to find their own answers. And then if something's not working and those answers aren't working, then they come to me and say, gosh, I've tried this, I've looked this up. What would you suggest? I get a whole lot less of those, Bonnie, what do I need for this? What do I need for this? What do I need for that? Because that's how I've trained my team. Well, have you looked it up in the desk reference? What have you tried? I make them go find their answers and then come back to me if those don't work. And so then when I don't answer, for an hour or 2 hours or whatever, they a lot of times have already found their own answers to those kinds of questions. And it's not that I don't want to help people with things, but also I don't want to be somebody's 24/7 snap answer person. That's just not how I roll, right? So that's all part of setting boundaries too. Think about, how do you want to roll in your business? And it's way different when you have 10 people on your team or when you have 3,000 people on your team. If you're getting a lot, do you really want 3,000 people contacting you, feeling like they can contact you day or night about every little thing? If not, then when you have 10 people on your team, you better start setting your boundaries and setting yourself up for success for when you have 3,000 or 40,000 people on your team, right? Okay. Anything else? Was that helpful?
That was amazing, Bonnie. That was really so useful, definitely to me. And I love your very calming demeanor as you talk about overwhelm.
All right. Well, I know you guys have other things to discuss, and yeah, and if anything comes up, you have any other questions, definitely get with Allie. You can get to me through her, and hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I'm so excited for your team. Like, we were over here cheering Allie on to Diamond last month, and you guys honestly and truly are the rock stars behind her. And I'm so grateful for you guys because Allie is certainly somebody very dear and near to my heart. So congratulations, all of you, for all of your rank ups on your team and the work that you're putting in. And you guys all have the potential to just keep moving through and doing great things with Young Living. So I'm super excited for you guys.
Thank you, Bonnie. That's so kind of you. And honestly, everything that we gave Ellie, she gives us 10 times more. So
yeah, absolutely. I know that's true. So that's awesome. So very good. Well, I'll let you guys continue on, and I'm going to go ahead and leave.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Okay, guys, that was really good. Looks like a lot of people enjoyed that. She's amazing. So what's left now? We need to discuss the rest of the week. So we've got tomorrow night is Oils for Women. And Wednesday night, I think, is the hormone class. And there we've got a guest speaker. I can't remember her name. Kristen, I think.
Kirsten.
Kirsten. Oh, thanks, Shell. And then we've got a 101. So let's just have this discussion. A debate came up in one of our leaders groups on having all these Zooms this week. Is there overlap, similarity? Do we need them all? You know, we can split the load. I know people have been away with a long weekend. So my thoughts, I'll just put it out there, and it did come up, is that I actually thought tomorrow night was an oils for women talk. Then, and that's sort of oils outside the starter kit, I guess, and I imagine that would, I guess, tap into a bit of hormones, but we're having the hormone talk on Wednesday night. And then I thought Thursday night is a straight 101, but I see Ellie's actually put it down as a 101 for women. I'm not quite sure how different that is from Tuesday night for the oils for women, and I don't know if it's a bit of overkill so much for women. So my view is the women's talk, oils for women tomorrow night, and the hormones, which is booked, which is sounds amazing. But to just have a regular 101 on Thursday night, just our formula that's been working, that appeals to non-members, because I don't think we need to limit it to non-members just for women. I think if we can talk families, if you can tell them I can help husbands, I feel like that's quite powerful. But I'll put it out there, what does everyone else feel?
I agree, Andy. I think it's too much to have 3 women's classes in a row. And I'm not sure how it would differ to have oils for women and then a 101 for women.
That was my thoughts. So that's how I feel. But you know, if some people have already advertised it and spoken to their teams, and you know, don't really want to change that, we do have to honor that.
Well, maybe you can tell us what the difference would be.
Well, so I asked this on our leaders group, and I think Kim came up with quite a good explanation there on sort of the 101 for women would be about the starter kit oils, but the oils for women would be outside of the starter kit. So that's kind of the difference.
So I thought we were just having a Women's Day week. So I thought that was the whole point of this week, and just making it all about women and how we can use the starter kit oils to just pamper ourselves, how we can get good sleep rather than our kids, how we can work on our skin and our nails and our baths and our noses and our everything, you know, like. And
when
then,
you break it down like that, maybe it does make sense to, if you're using the oils in the kit and then outside the kit, maybe that's quite helpful.
Like
actually.
The 101 for women is basically, this is Women's Day, and for once we're doing a 101 class all about us. There are 1,000 other uses, and we never talk about us during the other 51 weeks of the year. So, you know, we've dedicated this week to us, and we're going to talk about the oils in only the starter kit in the 101 call, and then oils outside the starter kit in the what I call the 102 call, but it's in the oils for women by women. You know, what are our favorite ones? What are the ones we can't do without? What's in our toolkit and our ER orders month in and month out?
Could we not perhaps do we do the 101 outside the kit for women this week with the hormones, because it's like collaboration, and then next week, because Women's Month is a whole month, so if we do the follow-up next week, it wouldn't be so much in 1 week, because to have people on 3 calls, even though it sounds amazing, like I'll be on all 3 calls, but we might just lose quite a few people. But if we have the follow-up to the women's outside the PSK next week, maybe we will have more traction. I don't know, just putting it out there.
It's also a good suggestion. So I'm really open to, I think it came up that it is an intense week. Some people are away, and to have tonight and 3 more calls that we all want to be on is quite an intense week. So that is how it did come up. I was honestly just a little bit confused. I really thought that the 101 was a straight one. So that's when I realized it wasn't. I don't know, we can vote. What, you know, some people have advertised already to their teams. I also don't want to upset people. I mean, the Oils for Women is like tomorrow night. So I guess, you know, if people already advertised, because I agree with you, Shell, I hear what you're saying. We can use it a week later. As you said, it is Women's Month. Yeah, you see Serena saying she's already shared to teams and sent invites. Okay. Okay, Shell is saying we can change dates. I don't know, do you want to put it to a vote? How do you all feel? Pam, you've unmuted.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Oh, did you want to talk?
Maybe we can just send out an oops, made a mistake with the date. It's changed to, it is actually on, oh yeah, what's wrong with my camera? I don't know, like, oops, sorry, made a mistake. It's actually next week, or if
so, well, what does everyone want to do? Should we put it out to vote? What does everyone want to do?
Andy, what is next week? Because
I'll tell you now. Next week is for 101. Let me tell you now. Okay, next week is an intro class on the 18th, so that is Tuesday night. And 19th is a few of our favorite things. And 20th is a biz class.
you see, because that week is basically already full, and a few of my favorite things is almost, to me, exactly like a 102 class.
Yeah. So I guess the discussion here is tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night. One is Oils for Women outside of the kit. One was 101 Oils for Women in the kit. How do you all feel? Do you want to vote on them? Do you want them both? You know, anyone?
My feeling is that if people have advertised it, we should honor it. And if it's a balls up this week, it doesn't matter. We live and learn. Like, I just think that if people have already invited people, then we should honor it. That's my feeling.
I'm thinking that tomorrow night and Wednesday night's pretty sorted. So that's why I thought the 101, you know, could swing to women or just a general 101. So that was my only thoughts. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm just trying to read the chat, what everyone feels. Do we just stick with it, or do we make changes to Thursday?
I think the consensus is just stick to it.
Okay, so then let's just try and commit to be there as many as you can, because we don't want, we know it's a busy week, but we just don't want no shows. I guess Thursday night, if everyone's done Tuesday night, Tuesday night and Wednesday night, you know, I'm hoping that there are people coming for Thursday night, but I suppose everyone will send new members.
I think we'll all be there. I mean, we can all commit. It's just whether people we invite are going to commit to 3 nights in a row, because it's all women stuff. But we can send them the recording. I think it doesn't matter if we have.
Yeah.
If we have one outside person, that's enough of a person.
Okay, hang on. Serena's telling me that she has a different list. Serena, what's different? Sorry. Oh, so I think I've got added stuff. Serena, I've got, I don't know where I got this from. Serena's got a slightly different list. Okay, but it's still,
so
this week is the same.
Your list is what I've got. It's exactly the same as what I've got, and I've drawn that, what you've got, from the link on Ellie's chat.
Okay, so Serena's is a little different. It just looks like this week is the same, but next week she doesn't have a biz class. She's got a Science of Essential Oils on the 20th. So was that a previous discussion maybe, or were we missing a biz class? I'll check, but that Science of Essential Oils seems to have changed to a biz class on my schedule. So, okay, but it's the following week, Serena, so we'll chat, we can confirm with Addie's latest, but Kim, if you're saying you picked that up, there must have been a change. Perhaps we just were missing a biz class because there's not a biz class this week, and then you don't want to go too many weeks without a business class.
I've
There's
also
a
got the
Let's Talk
schedule with the
Business.
Science of Essential Oils.
Okay, so obviously
I've
this is
got
updated.
Let's Talk Business on the Thursday the 20th.
Yeah, that's what I've got. So obviously, I think the gap from the last biz class to the next one is too wide, and that Science of Essential Oils must have been changed. So I think that's an updated one. Okay, all right, so we're going ahead. So now, Serena kindly put together a whole lot of WhatsApp groups, just temporary groups to plan each of these chats. So we're not going to handle that now. Just on the WhatsApps, just if everyone can jump in what they're prepared to speak about. And I don't expect that everyone's at every chat. I mean, we're ready at every Zoom. I think we can share the load a bit. So with 4 nights in a row, we can share the load. So yeah, just wherever you're able to jump in, that we've got speakers on. It's Tuesday night and Thursday night, because Wednesday night is guest speaker. Shell, were you?
I'm just thinking for I think we just need like a little bit of direction of what like focus headings on what is expected of us, what is wanted of us, what do you want us to speak about?
Okay, no, so that we're going to share, it's going to be shared on the chat. So
okay.
Don't worry, no. So I just mean we're not going to continue this and discuss it here. We've agreed we're going to go ahead with the schedule. Then we've already discussed on our leaders group that each of us will control, not sure who's running tomorrow night, but I'm running Thursday nights. So that's where the discussion came in. But and Adi, I think, is introducing Kirsten on Wednesday night. So I don't know, Serena, if I'm not sure who's running tomorrow night, but someone will run it and will send. Serena just put the chats together, so they will send a list, a plan of how the class will go. But I think it's basically going to run like our oils outside of the starter kit. We've got to have the introduction, and then everyone will jump in for their recipes and their input. So it will be posted on the chat, and then you can come back to, Pam. Pam is running tomorrow night. Pam, are you aware of that?
No. I mean,
no. Okay. I think it came up because it was your suggestion.
Andy, can I please make a suggestion? Maybe we make it very distinctively different between the 101 essential oils, and maybe do like a pamper night tomorrow. So how women can pamper themselves, like make a face mask, or I don't know, do a hair mask, or what the ingredients that you would use to do those things.
Oh, so maybe more like I like that idea. Maybe more like the hair and nails class.
Kind of like that, but you just pamper yourself.
Yeah, I'm saying that to give recipes. I like that idea.
And all based on the starter kit? No,
tomorrow night's not. The idea is tomorrow night, not the starter kit. Tomorrow night's not your oils outside of the starter kit.
Okay, sorry, I'm exhausted.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily think you have to, if there's like an orange that you put into your face mask, not include that in the pamper thing for tomorrow night.
No, you said,
do you know what I mean?
I think, and you would never have a pamper session without frankincense, and you never, of course, I think our starter kit oils are going to jump in there anyway. But I think it's to bring in all the outside oils outside of the kit. Whereas on Thursday night, we've got to rein it in really tightly to focus on the starter kit, because we can't have all new members and just throwing out, or new prospects, I should say, throwing out all these outside oils. I'm just not sure how it will affect the US. That's my concern. But I guess outside of the starter kit is some of their starter kit oils. Okay, so I'm not sure. I don't know. So Pam, are you not comfortable to run tomorrow night's talk? You can be honest, and
I'm happy to brainstorm and come up with like a good structure, but I'm not confident enough to run it yet.
Serena, do you want to work on it with Pam?
Please.
Sorry, I need to unmute. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I have a one-on-one with someone who can only chat tomorrow. So like the first half, I'm still going to be in that meeting. Okay. It's only ending at 8:30.
Okay, so guys, we're going to need someone to help Pam for tomorrow night if she's not feeling confident.
I can help you, Pam.
Oh, thank you, Sam.
Oh, thanks,
Sure.
Sam.
Sure. I think if we can just agree that then we're going to work it on kind of like working as pampering women.
I think that's a great idea that Natasha brought up, and I think that's beautiful. So if you guys, as I said, look at the outside starter kits, few of my favorite things, all those, even what was the skin and hair and whatever, nails, I can't remember that class, but that kind of idea, I guess a lot of recipes, perhaps maybe doing the DIY is actually a nice thing. So if you guys are happy to work on that one for tomorrow night, and then
do we have other people who have volunteered as speakers?
No, so put together your plan, and then on that group, the Oils for Women, put your plan out, and then say who's going to volunteer for X, Y, and Z. If you can just put a schedule together.
Pam and
But
Sam
Sammy,
pampering.
Okay.
I don't think you should make it an entirely pamper class, because I mean it's not very complicated to have, say, a Panaway Epsom salt bath. You know, that you can just
No,
I mean,
and I
that's
think like there's
pamper,
been a
but you
few
can just
nice
talk about it.
ideas.
And you can
Taryn
talk
was
about
saying,
like CBD, which is amazing for so many levels, and you don't want to leave out key things like that.
So
are
don't you
helpful
want to
just
speak
because-
about CBD, please? Because you've had great experience with CBD so far. There we go. Not delegating, using my 4 squares.
You are so funny.
I am already on the group. It's okay. You can nominate me. That's fine.
Okay, we nominate Kim. I think Taryn's
that's
going to
fine.
talk about period pains. I'll talk about happy capsules, and we'll find some other people, Pam.
I can maybe do like I can do a DIY one, do a mask, and talk about the benefits of the products, or do Serena's scalp scrub, because I
A face
absolutely
mask
love
sounds
it.
beautiful, Shell.
Okay, I'm happy, and then like I don't know, follow-up toner, whatever.
You
But
can
I'm happy.
put it out on the group and say, guys,
Yeah.
who wants to do stuff, and then put your plan together. You know, who's got
Excellent.
ideas? Yeah, so put it out. Just use the WhatsApp chat to formulate the talk, and between you and Pam to try and run it if you find that.
And then are we using Ali's link
Yes.
to start and
Yes.
whatnot?
Yes, you'll use
Cool.
Annie's link, and yeah, have you got the sign-in details and all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you'll use that, and that's exactly, you know, get everyone's ideas and then put it together. And I'll do the same thing for the Thursday night. Yeah, and I think that's our week.
Sounds good.
Guys, if there's nothing more, then it's getting late. Let's not keep it going. Okay.
Thank you, Andy.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks so much, Andy.
Bye.
Bye.